We are now just 2 weeks away from the federal election. It's coming soon. The party leaders are touring the country ahead of Wednesday's French and Thursday's English language debates. Those are happening in Montreal. CTV News senior political correspondent Mike Couture. You were following the Liberal campaign this week. Mike, you're joining us from Montreal. It looks like you're on the bus. Are you guys on the move?
I am on the bus, yeah. It's an early start to the day, Anne-Marie, and we are rolling already through downtown Montreal.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk while you ride that, all right? Mark Carney, we know, faced some scrutiny last night. He was on Radio Canada's talk show Tout le Monde. What were the standout moments for you from that appearance for him?
Yeah, I think it was interesting because he was given some very pointed questions. I mean, that's what this show was really all about. But certainly he had some more pointed questions, I think, compared to Pierre Poilievre, who was on just before him. And especially when it was that challenge of Bill 21. And that is, of course, the bill where it's the laïcité bill, the one where it's about secularism here in this province, something very important to the people of this province. And the fact that, you know, French is not his first language, and he has already admitted that he has difficulty in French, gives himself about a 6 out of 10. And I think it was a little more difficult for him in those moments, so maybe not his best time. I think the other thing that did stand out is that Guy Lapage is a former member of a comedy troupe called the Hockey Belles Oreilles that Quebecers would know very, very well. And he basically name-dropped it right at the end, and that sort of gave everybody in the crowd a bit of a moment of, oh, Mark Carney knew this, because that's certainly a big cultural reference in this province. So that is something that I think sort of stood out. And these types of interviews are basically do no harm. And I think in this case, Mark Carney got out of this pretty unscathed.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens for him a little bit later in the week. You know, being the one out in front, that's who everybody has the target on. Plus, as you say, the first debate is happening not in a language that he is most comfortable communicating in. Let's talk about the polls this morning. The latest from Nick Nanos shows that the Liberals have a 7-point lead now over the Conservatives. It's still single digits. These are the last 2 weeks. These are when people are starting to solidify what they might have been unsure about. So what is the Liberal Party strategy going forward?
Yeah, I think what they're going to try and do going forward here is trying to make sure that they're minimizing any type of exposure, minimizing any type of damage. I mean, you say this is where people are starting to solidify their votes. This is also a time when people are actually starting to pay attention. That's that key moment of the debates. I mean, you talk to your neighbors who may or may not have been paying attention to the election at this point. I think once the debates happen, that is when really everybody sorts to key in. We know that Mark Carney is going to be in Quebec for the next few days. That's a key area for them, Anne-Marie, when you consider that if they want to form any type of government, they have to do well in this province. And if they want to form a majority, they have to do very well. You have to think back to 2015 when the Liberals got 40 seats here. And there is somebody that I spoke to inside the Liberal Party who said that they think they could surpass that in this election.
Mike, here's where I want to tap into some of your knowledge of the behind-the-scenes bit, because this is the piece that we find interesting that you have access to. Talk to me about debate prep. What happens for the leaders? And in particular, these are two leaders who are in this campaign for the first time. You know, Jagmeet Singh has already done a leadership campaign, but this is the first time for the both of them. What kind of prep goes into that?
Yeah, I think people would be shocked to know that they actually go through mock debates where they have members of their staff pose as the other leaders. So there's a bit of, on the bus right now, a bit of a question and a bit of a fun little sort of parlor game where we wonder who is actually acting as Pierre Poilievre, who is acting as Jagmeet Singh in the room, because what they try and do is simulate as much as possible what could happen on that debate stage and try to take on the mannerisms and everything. So that is what Mark Carney will be going through in the next couple of days. And you might see him have a bit of a lighter schedule in terms of a public forward-facing schedule, and that's because he's going to be going through all that debate prep. They're going to be setting up lecterns in a hotel room and actually going through all the different scenarios, all the different subjects, and the different attacks that he could encounter on that debate stage.
Mike Couture, always working, even while the bus is riding. I want to thank you for joining us today. And of course, as you point out, with a race this close, you cannot give an inch, which is why this prep is so important. Safe journeys. I'm going to take you off the screen because I'm going to get car sick if I keep watching you.
Sorry about that.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
All right. If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.